Now available in paperback and e-readers, E-Steam Blast from the Past. Hell's aspiring angel takes on her demonic doppelganger in this action-packed, time-traveling E-Steam series adventure. Get E-Steam Blast from the Past with a bonus E-Steam comic book, No Good Deed, in paperback and e-readers at online booksellers everywhere. Recently, Marvel Studios announced that it would not be recasting the role of T'Challa in its upcoming movie, Black Panther 2. Now, this decision by Marvel Studios was made because they wanted to honor the memory of Chadwick Boseman, who passed away this year of colon cancer. Now, many of the comic fans out there and fans of the MCU are not very happy about this decision not to recast T'Challa in the role of Black Panther in Black Panther 2, and they believe that the show should go on. However, I believe that Disney made the right decision as related to not recasting the role of T'Challa because there's a lot more at stake here as related to not only Chadwick Boseman's legacy, but to an entire generation of young children. Now, when it comes down to Chadwick Boseman's legacy, I believe that the decision not to recast the role is the right one because this is a way to honor the legacy of one of the greatest black actors of the 21st century. Chadwick Boseman, in the short time that he was performing, was on his way to becoming a legendary actor on the level of his mentor, Denzel Washington, and he showed a fantastic range in the short time he was performing in film. And the role of T'Challa was his signature role, and with this being his signature role, I don't believe any other actor could ever match his talent and skill at portraying the King of Wakanda, and he showed that great range starting in Captain America Civil War, and he really showed us what he could do in Black Panther. So as I see it, with this being his signature role, he really needs to have that role cemented, and nobody, as I see it, could ever take his place. So the best thing to do to honor a great actor like Chadwick Boseman is to just let him have his signature role and just move on. Because as I see it, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, even though it's going to go on, is a wide place and it's filled with lots of great black characters. I mean, we're starting to see Monica Rambeau getting ready to come up and about with WandaVision and Captain Marvel 2, and it's easy to replace him in the MCU with another character like Blue Marvel, who would be a perfect fit with all of the cosmic things going on with Eternals and the rumored Fantastic Four movie. So if you want to go out here and honor Chadwick Boseman's legacy, you can have the MCU still continue to go on, and you can go out here and give another actor an opportunity to play a role where they won't have to sit there and have to try to fill the shoes of the legendary Chadwick Boseman or wind up being compared to Chadwick Boseman's great performance. That actor can then go on, take a character like Blue Marvel or Monica Rambeau and make that character all their own, and they can go out here and be able to perform without the hindrance of having comparisons made to them and Chadwick Boseman. So as I see it, the Marvel Cinematic Universe is a very big place, and it's a place where an actor can make their impact by playing another character in the Marvel Universe. And there are plenty of black characters they can play. And when it comes down to Wakanda, Wakanda can still have a role in the Marvel Cinematic Universe without T'Challa being seen on film all the time. I mean, the nation of Wakanda can still go on in film, and you could just focus on other aspects of that nation. I mean, you could do a entire movie on M'Baku, because M'Baku was a very compelling character in Black Panther. He had even a stronger screen presence in many scenes than Chadwick Boseman in some cases. And you could do an entire film on M'Baku. You can do an entire film on Killmonger. Both of those actors could draw in a Black Panther sequel, as I see it. And you didn't really even need Black Panther to be there, because you have so many great supporting characters that they could carry a film with just those characters. I mean, M'Baku and Killmonger, even though he's dead, you can find some way to write him back in. They could easily carry a film, and there are just so many possibilities for this whole MCU. They really do not need to recast T'Challa in order to do things, as I see it. So that's one reason why I believe they don't need to go out here and recast T'Challa. The other reason I believe they should not recast T'Challa, because it's going to have a traumatizing effect on many of the younger MCU viewers, because we started to see how they were emotionally impacted by the passing of Chadwick Boseman this, I think it was summer. And when I saw all of those displays from small children of funerals with their MCU action figures, that's another reason why I believe we should not recast this role of T'Challa in the Black Panther movie. Because when you have all of these small children who have been told that the actor Chadwick Boseman has died, a lot of those children associated T'Challa with your Chadwick Boseman. And when they heard this is why these children were out here having funerals with their action figures, and they were mourning the passing of not only Chadwick Boseman, but they were mourning the passing of the Black Panther. And for them to see another person come into that role, that would lead to that actor being made into somebody they would hate from minute one, because this actor is somebody they have an emotional connection with. This character of Black Panther is somebody they have an emotional connection with. And to go out here and tell them that somebody else is going to play that role, that would be the thing to really upset them, because this is somebody who they grew up with and is considered to be one of their icons. And it's very similar to what happened with Optimus Prime in 1986 when in Transformers the movie. A lot of those kids from my generation, they never really got over the murder of Optimus Prime on screen, and they would not accept any other Transformers until Beast Wars came around in about 1996, and the Optimus Prime character himself really didn't get to come back until Robots in Disguise. They returned him in 1987 in Return of Optimus Prime, but the character never really came back to prominence until we had the launch of the Fire Convoy toy and Transformers Robots in Disguise. That's when we really started to see the revival of that character, and it just showed me how deeply emotionally connected people are to these characters. So for a lot of the kids of this generation, Chadwick Boseman was the Black Panther, and to put somebody else in that place, they would get the same reception that Rodimus Prime received after Transformers the movie. Now, back in 86, we had people, after Optimus Prime died, trying to bring Rodimus Prime in and start to sell a new wave of Transformer toys. However, so many kids of the latchkey generation were so traumatized by the death of Optimus Prime, somebody who they considered to be their friend, they refused to buy these toys. And older kids from my generation, we just decided to use that as a symbol to mark our moving on. And Hasbro never really recovered until Beast Wars in '96, and Optimus Prime didn't recover until 2001 or so with Robots in Disguise. And Disney, being a company that is about profits, understands that it's just better to take the short-term loss as related to to T'Challa rather than wind up losing long-term with the MCU. And your Disney understanding that the decision to recast T'Challa could possibly lead to a Rodimus effect, they have decided, hey, we're not going to go out here and upset these children who heard that their hero wound up passing away. And the best thing they're going to do is honor the memory of the man who played the role of T'Challa. And that's the best thing to do. And I would even have gone further by just saying, I'm going to scrap the entire Black Panther 2 movie and take the loss on this film, because it's just better for us to take this short-term loss rather than make this film and then have it do poorly. But I guess Disney wants to take the risk knowing that they have your Michael B. Jordan as Killmonger. They know that they have M'Baku. They know they have Shuri. But Shuri is a weak link, and I guess they'll probably use M'Baku and Killmonger to try to shore up this movie. And they're going to need an amazing script to really do that. So, as I see it, the best thing to ever have done was just completely scrap this movie and just move on. Because as I see it, the cosmic marvel that they're planning with Eternals in Phase 4, or as I call it, Fail 4, if you're going to go cosmic, the best thing to do is regroup, create a Blue Marvel movie, and then have Blue Marvel take his place in the MCU. Because with a new character and a new story, then you can continue the momentum with the black comic fans and black sci-fi fans, and you can introduce them to a brand new character and carry on the momentum as related to the whole Black Panther franchise. And retiring the Black Panther franchise and replacing it with a new one that will also be seen as a gesture of goodwill, because you're honoring the memory of a great man, but you can still allow the MCU to move on, because the MCU is a fluid thing, and all you need to do when one character is story ends is start another story. I mean, we've already seen all of these characters from Avengers Endgame have their stories in, and with that happening, with Black Panther being a part of that group, it would just be a good thing to just end the whole franchise and move on, as I see it. So the decision to go out here and honor Chadwick Boseman's legacy, as I see it, is a good one. Now, I know there are some people who would argue that it was Chadwick Boseman who died, not T'Challa. However, to an entire generation of small children, Chadwick Boseman was the Black Panther, and to that entire generation of children growing up, it would just be too cruel to sit there and put another man in that Panther costume when these kids just saw their hero while dying, and they sat there and mourned his passing. These kids would not accept any actor in that role because they've already formed an emotional connection with Chadwick Boseman over the course of 3 to 4 films, and they would not accept anybody in that role. I know this because of what I saw with Transformers, the movie, back in '86, and that when I saw those kids just vehemently reject Rodimus Prime, the same thing would happen to any other actor you put in that role. And Disney, understanding that they were in a situation with a Rodimus effect, they didn't want to have a Rodimus effect hit the MCU and alienate all of those people who have been invested in the MCU And they don't want to see all of those people walk away from the MCU and stop spending money, because if those young fans feel like their hero's life doesn't matter, then they're not going to want to spend money to see any more MCU movies. So many people will sit there and say, hey, they could continue on with this Black Panther franchise with a new actor, but would the kids go out here and accept a new actor in the role of Black Panther? That's the critical question Disney had asked, and after thinking about it, they realized that they did not like the answer, because to put that new actor in that role, that new actor could possibly be seen as the next Rodimus Prime, and that's something Disney didn't want to take a risk on, and they didn't want to risk merchandising a new actor and having people vehemently reject him the same way many Star Wars fans rejected Rey and the people of the sequel trilogy. They've already taken a lot of losses on one franchise with Star Wars, and they don't want to take any more losses as related to the MCU. So they already know that Star Wars suffered because they put the wrong actors and the wrong characters in that franchise, and they don't want to do this with Black Panther. So as I see it, Chadwick Boseman was a legendary actor, and with this, again, being his signature role, this is the greatest way that your Kevin Feige and Disney and Marvel Studios could honor him, by protecting his signature role and making it the icon and the iconic role that it is, and making sure that that iconic role is not tarnished by any other actor. I mean, many comic fans may not be happy with this, many MCU fans may not be happy with it, but I believe it's the best decision to be made, because while the show can go on with the MCU, it can go on with other characters, and if you decide to ever end this MCU and reboot it, then you can go and recast that role and not really have all of these kids upset, because they know it's a new universe and a new character. And I know there are some people who say that, they recast Edward Norton as the Hulk and Don Cheadle as War Machine, but in both of those cases, those actors were still alive. But this is a case of an actor who passed away, and an actor who people formed an emotional attachment to over the course of multiple films. He was a supporting character in Captain America Civil War. He was the lead character in the highest grossing superhero movie of all time, Black Panther, and he played major parts in Infinity War, and he made an appearance in Avengers Endgame. So T'Challa was an important character in the MCU, and he was somebody significant to an entire generation of younger fans, and the best thing to do is honor Chadwick Boseman and honor Chadwick's legacy by letting the character that he played wind up being taken off the page, and letting the MCU go on, and letting his signature role remain his signature role. Now, if you want to see me make more videos about African American fantasy, comic books, and superhero movies, you can donate to my Patreon, my PayPal, and my Cash App by clicking the links in the description box. And if you want to pick up some of my books featuring African American heroes, like the ISIS series, the E-Steam series, the John Haynes series, and the books of the Spinsterella trilogy, you can pick up all of those books in paperback and Kindle format on Amazon.com, or you can find them on Smashwords, the iBookstore, and Google Play. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe. Now available in paperback and e-readers, ISIS, the Beauty Myth. Learn the beauty secrets of the goddess next door in this action-packed ISIS series adventure. Get ISIS, the Beauty Myth at online booksellers everywhere today.